Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. Now is the moment to put up a fight. According to Max Keiser, then, as this pattern makes clear, XRP is dominated by a small group of people. So, tell me, when did this start? Consists primarily of maxis and ETH maxis, the time for preparation has come. Keiser claims the motivation behind the SEC's action against Ripple was never legal. Back to the beginning, then, God was right to cause your Ripple SEC lawsuit to kill XRP. A good guy named Johnny appears. A passage from an article is cited, I believe. The comment made by Keiser was carefully examined. Keiser's claim that SEC Chair Gary Gensler is shielding entrenched interests and maintaining the status quo is shared by the pro-XRP attorney. According to Johnny Dixon, I may need to travel to El Salvador in order to purchase Bitcoin and Max Keiser. A libation now that we've reached an agreement on an important matter. Nevertheless, if you return to this section of the chronology, things only get more bizarre, as the problem is that Keiser applauds and praises the SEC for this, believing that doing so is good for Bitcoin. Wow. It's absurd that nations are applying pressure on DavidSchwartz right now. What is this third version of XRP, anyway? I'm telling you, right, the XRP army has risen, and it's time to fight the FUD folks. 3 rounds in, 30 guys down, and at this point I've lost count. As governments ramp up their demands, Dave releases his reassurance. While the idea that Bitcoin benefits incumbent banks and non-penny non-bank financial institutions is selfish and disgusting, its efficacy cannot be denied. You can't make this stuff up, Stephen, but wait a minute, when we talk about banks and such, I was going to put this off till later and now I have to check the sell from him. These items are made of metal. Hey, V. Have you seen the latest happenings in the conversation? If Italic walked over and saw the notes, his normally calm face flushed and his eyes widened with rage. He set up his laptop, closed the lid, and disappeared into another room. Don't feel the need to cast aspersions. The theorem he wrote is completely neutral toward any particular set of users. It's excellent if banks want to start using it. It's excellent if banks want to start using it. The bankers were the main focus of the conversation. The irony here is that Bitcoin maxis like Max Keiser, the ETH maxis, have insisted all along that our actions are counter to those of the established order. But it's excellent if financial institutions use it. It doesn't care who uses it, by the way. What a fascinating oxymoron. Perhaps he will argue that Bitcoin is beneficial to society as a whole to save face. He can therefore advocate for imposing his opinion on others with impunity. However, Bitcoins have their detractors who will make the same point. Some may even view this as an example of cynical paternalism. Where does Johnny Deaton go wrong? The fact that so many self-proclaimed libertarian Bitcoin maximists have cheered or celebrated the SEC's enormous and gross overreach. Exactly. Alright, here comes Max Keiser, then. Sure, the SEC is guilty of clinical overreaching, but that won't stop them from eradicating XRP and all the other S-coins, he had to respond. Save for Bitcoin guys, of course it can't be looked up. Wow. No one can stop Bitcoin. Huh. Because of this, I know the inverse is always true. I plan on devouring whatever I can get my hands on. Max K. E. Reimer is the Bitcoin price when it reaches 123K or when it drops by -9%. There will be a moment, men. He openly declared that he and his team intend to eliminate XRP and all other crypto coins. Who has given XRP their official blessing? They bankers. Right. It's also become much more distinct. Of course, a sizable chunk of the case has yet to be resolved, but the wrap-up of the XRP-related proceedings was all that was required. That of XRP. In the very beginning, that was the crux of the argument. Eric, I don't understand why he's taking such a hard stance on XRP. Is something on the horizon? It's time to do battle with the FUD once more. Now, he continues, because, for the wealthy and in the clouds, there is almost no rule of law in Wall Street banking. It's only a matter of when, not if, the XRP supply is reduced, despite the fact that Brad Garlinghouse has been spreading a lot to keep his Ponzi scam continuing. Even though he is arguing against XRP, I still like Max Keiser for this very reason. The more skeptics there are of Ripple and XRP, the more motivation XRP will have to show them they're wrong. This is not something I've made up. Maximum SEC has the potential to kill XRP. Exactly. Let's come back here from the pump, Wait till the Discover Ripple and XRP backers respond if you think Bitcoin's price surged when CNBC institutional and institutional investors learned about it. The time has come, men. Now things are really starting to heat up. As the current pattern makes clear, things become steamy after Max Keiser sexualizes XRP. He's yelling at us, dudes. This is so absurd that it's not even funny. Okay. Is everything well, Max? They know who Satoshi is, so I hope everything is fine over there. How about today, and did they manage to get together with them yet? With them, rather than him or her. Numerous individuals. Also, Max, how's everything going? What's up with the XRP salts? This is where the problem is solved. Max K.E. Reimer, is there something wrong? Here, at the biggest Bitcoin mine in the USA. That many mathematical algorithms are computed per second by the Texas-based Riot blockchain in a worldwide competition to secure the next block on the blockchain. Max Keiser, all these large miners are blasting noise, and I can't even make out what you said. And the volume is ridiculous. I had to turn down the volume all the way. Guys, listen up. Is there something wrong? As such, I think that in the future, not now, there will be some sort of ceremonial involving XRP and Bitcoin gas. Perhaps, definitely, at the time of the great calamity that is the collapse, when the financial system melts down. What comes next? Ledger, XRP, was. Discourse in the community is centralized from the get-go. Wow, just look at all those XRP soldiers, I'm very pleased. I enjoy it very much when the entire XRP community or XRP army hits. Since we defend ourselves, of course. For systems of this sort. Reason being, we can read your minds, men. But I really appreciate it when there is always a counterargument to consider. This is fantastic. Simply put, it's a nice sensation. A toast to Matt Hamilton. How incredibly stupid you are to spread such rubbish is just astounding. The pattern you described existed 20 years before XRP was even conceived about, and yet you attribute it to XRP's cool factor. The question is, what do you think? Let's hear it from everyone's. Because the insurance is coming out, these are such absolutely foolish arguments, guys up the scale on the right side of the spectrum here. I'm at a loss for words as to how to respond. Besides having a good laugh. Exactly what does this patent cover, therefore, and what does it imply? Coastline patent applications from August 1988. What this tells me is that Bitcoin was a test of a certain pattern. Bitcoin was an experiment meant to bring everyone down to the same level, and it's clear that we're entering a brand new era. Which is why they had to discover, in my opinion, that every other cryptocurrency is a sham save XRP. That's simply how I feel. Now that you know the specifics of the August submission that provided the shortest pathways towards the patterns, you can learn more about the distributed network of computers that was used for the processing. While neither blockchain nor the XRP ledger are referenced by name, the similarities between the patterns described and the validation procedure in the current XRP ledger are significant. And you see how Max fits in here, right? Then, right now, we observe a great deal of complexity. Everybody's on the offensive. You just can't make this stuff up if people are assaulting the XRP folks just because his name includes the word Ethereum. I warned you that this moment would come. When XRP still hasn't explained who exactly is in charge of their master nodes, I have less faith in their centralization. No organization should ever rely on XRP. Don't forget that the XRP blockchain hosts this innovative Ripple solution. Don't give Brad Garland the satisfaction of pooping on your face by screwing your skull off. The validators are over there, so let's hear what they have to say about those centralized nodes that are supposed to be so helpful in clinical settings. As far as I can tell, this list contains every validator there is. The problem is that you can find them everywhere in the world. Right? Or, let's say, here's a bunch of individuals who put up their validators, you can look up their names, right? The Opitru-Basson transaction and maybe a couple of more swaps cause a ripple effect all the way to a lab in Japan, right? Guys. So, if that's not entirely clear, let's discuss and clarify what this means in the context of the visual arts. Naturally, he's the one behind the design. That way, he could refresh his memory about the role of validators in the XRP ledger. With XRPL, there is only one possible method of interaction. To be specific, it's a node. If you use the XRP ledger but don't host a node, you're using a node hosted by someone else. And you are, at least partially, putting your faith in this individual. Not going to let anyone else take charge of your own node, I take it? Obviously, then, it's crucial, and not simply because it's decentralized. I don't know, maybe there's a twist in the end. The entire history of XRP on the ledger can be viewed by anyone. All transactions are public, all transaction rules are public, and if your node is broken, your node doesn't need validators to determine whether or not a transaction is valid. The system is already well-versed on the data. Validators aren't required because your node can figure out whether transactions are valid on its own. These rules ensure that all trustworthy nodes will always reach the same conclusion. Without validators, you can only solve the double spend problem. Someone can potentially present the network with two valid but incompatible transactions. It's hilarious to me that Max Keiser is criticizing XRP. Once more, something humorous is floating about in the back of my head, but there must be a means to reach a consensus on which of two potentially contradictory book transactions to allow into the network. To be clear, there is no compelling incentive for anyone to worry about which transactions succeed and which fail. Rather, we need to agree since, absent consensus, the system would crash. For the sake of efficiency, a ledger requires validators to resolve conflicts between transactions that are both equally legitimate and conflicting. Additional than coordinating the activation of network features, validators are used for additional purposes in XRP-L. However, this is not a part of executive duties. Interesting. Nodes are not obligated to accept features from validators. Right? Therefore, consensus is required. And then it goes right through you dudes. However, you can't be sure of who's on whose side. Of course, if Ripple introduces a new feature or whatever, you guys will use it, right? It's conceivable that consensus will be reached, but it's not required. Right. At the end of the day, you people do realize that it helps to look at things from a new angle. It's healthy to challenge your own beliefs every once in a while. For as long as I can remember, I felt obligated to argue that the future would be both centralized and decentralized. In no monetary sense. Let's not spend money like a bison and fight the good battle. He acknowledges that there has been a rise in activity, but he doesn't think it's due to anything as remarkable as SEO. It's all over today. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.